Welcome. You tuned into Salam Media, and talking to me now is going to be Mr. Sammy Claassen. He's a former member of the Democratic Alliance, and he was also their national campaign consultant. We're talking to him because of a very interesting issue. Just earlier today, Mr. Claassen, gave us an update regarding his status in the Democratic Alliance, and he released this media statement stating how he'll be leaving the party because, well, like other, notable departures in the DA, including just recently, Mr. Khalib Kachalia, he resigned because of the Palestine issue. The Palestine issue has been really, really big amongst members of the DA. That we even saw some of them leaving because they're citing issues of not being able to be outspoken with regards to the advocacy with the people of Palestine. And without taking more of your time, Mr. Sammy Claassen will be joining us just to give us a bit of insight on what drove him to resign the Democratic Alliance. Mr. Claassen, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Salam Media.
Yeah, thank you so much, and to all your listeners out there, a good day.
Yeah, I think you can just give us the exodus of it. Where it all began with you. Finally realizing that you don't have a place anymore in the Democratic Alliance, and you had to leave.
Yeah, no, thank you. You know the Palestine-Israel conflict is really a big moral test for the world, and in particular for us in South Africa. We have relationships with Palestine for many decades, and our own struggle in South Africa was a struggle against discrimination on the basis of race, ethnicity, religion, a struggle that defeated apartheid, and the Palestinian people in our struggle are intertwined because the struggle in Palestine is also a struggle for freedom. Nelson Mandela once said that South Africa will never be free unless Palestine are free. So the war, in fact, it's a complete genocide that is happening there, and to keep silent about it, basically you will condone the genocide, the killing of about 11,000 children and about 7,000 women and 27,000 people in general is a great concern, and it's a real moral test to the world. I resigned on Monday with immediate effect from the Democratic Alliance because it is public knowledge that all its public representatives and its broader membership are not allowed to speak out that one of the senior um, uh, 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 parliamentarians of the DA resigned just 2 weeks ago, precisely because he was outspoken in terms of siding with the Palestinian people. So my resignation comes because I was also confronted with the moral consciousness that keep on pressing me to voice my opinion. I knew that if I'm going to voice my opinion and a strong opinion in support of Palestine, there would be no place for me within the DA. I choose the option to resign and to rather join a broader platform where we can speak out freely in support of Palestine. Because what is happening there, that war is killing people on a daily basis. The bombardment of Palestine is unjust, and therefore, all political parties in South Africa that choose to be silent about that killing, the brutal murder, and the genocide that is currently happening there has no moral authority to lead this country. That's why I resigned from the DA and I've joined the People's Movement for Change. in support of Palestine.
Mm. You mentioned that there was it was very difficult for you to be within the party and still be able to voice how you really felt. What were the discussions like? When you try and speak out, or maybe try to attend pro-Palestine marches and events that I'm pretty sure are happening a lot in Cape Town. Uh, were you taken into meetings and told that you shouldn't be saying this whilst wearing the DA hat, or you shouldn't be attending these places because you will be seen, and obviously your advocacy will be attached to the Democratic Alliance? Or what did it look like in literal terms, that blacklisting of your support for Palestine within the organization?
Well, I'm not part of the leadership, political leadership of the DA. I was one of the consultants. My specific role was as I was the only national campaigns consultant assisting them in terms of each election approach and management of it. Um, but it is also a common fact that the Palestine issue is not on the table. There's no discussions about it. I've never been to any meetings where there was a discussion in terms of the Palestine Israel issue. I'm staying in the west coast, close to Cape Town, where there's a huge Muslim community. The communities all over the Western Cape are in support of Palestine, but within the DA, there's no discussion. There's no open debate in meetings. So and there was an open policy position that DA members are not allowed to speak openly about their support for Palestine and etc. We had an incident a couple of weeks ago where a community on the Cape Flats painted the Palestine flag on the flats and on walls, public walls. The city of Cape Town came with their law enforcement. They painted over it, but they left the graffiti of the gang members,
Mm,
and the numbers gang. They left that. They didn't paint over that, and that to me was a real moral. Uh, 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 um, it was morally incorrect and wrong because the city of Cape Town and the province are in support of Ukraine, but they're silent on the Palestinian matter.
mm, mm. No, definitely. I want to get to that specific moment where you chose to resign from the party. Were there any internal discussions or attempts to address these concerns within the party itself before you presented your resignation? Were there any discussions with the leadership of the Democratic Alliance? Because with Mr. Khalib Kachali, I remember we interviewed him. He did mention that there were numerous attempts, from him, to talk to Mr. John Steenhuisen. They had meetings, and eventually it came to a stalemate. Eventually came to a stalemate, and him ultimately deciding that he had, to resign. Was the situation similar with you, or
No,
you were just looking from the outside and looking at how things were ran within the party, and just decided that you can't stay any longer?
no, I think the party's position is very clear on Palestine. So each and every one of us knew that once you spoke out, they will come for you. So there was no intention from my side to speak to them because they've got a clear policy position, which is public. And the way they dealt with Mr. Katsalia, it's clear that there's no space. So I decided that rather not to waste my time on a matter that we will never have an agreement. Um, it is clear that you can't speak out on the matter. I decided to resign.
Mm, mm. In your media statement that you sent out, the one that we received, you speak on you know how the Democratic Alliance needs to review its position on members expressing opposition to the situation in Gaza. What specific changes or considerations would you recommend to the party in this regard?
Yeah, I think I think I've stated it earlier that any party that chooses to be silent on the matter and not sided with the people of Palestine currently suffering, that party cannot hold a moral obligation to lead this country, or they can never be in a center position to lead society because they quiet on a moral issue, a humanitarian issue, where the International Criminal Court has made a ruling. If any party in South Africa choose to turn a blind eye to the sufferings of Palestine, that party should not be voted into power because um, at a time when there's a test to pass, they failed the test dismally. So they need to review their position because there's a moral issue at hand, and that is the issue of Palestine, where there's a genocide of 27,000 people, and the party keep on silencing its members. That party needs to be held to account at the ballot box. And that's why I've asked them, in my statement, I say that the DA needs to review its current policy position on Palestine, because the people
Mm,
of Cape Town, the Western Cape, the majority of colored Muslim people are voting for the DA, and there's an obligation on the DA to take a moral stand against the brutal killing of innocent babies and children and women, and the 27,000 people. Their blood is calling out to God for justice, and therefore the DA needs to review its position because there's many people inside the DA who holds the same view as myself and Mr. Katsalia. There's many of them out there who becomes uncomfortable with the position the DA is taking on Palestine.
mm. You were the national campaign consultant for the Democratic Alliance. I'm sure you have your ears very close to the ground. When you are in the communities, listening to what the people of Cape Town are saying, as you mentioned in the colored and black townships where majority of people are Muslim, and they hold the struggles of the people of Palestine very closely to their hearts, but they still were members and were voting for the Democratic Alliance. But when they started seeing this shift, what were they saying, when the party that they're voting for holds such a appalling, in essence, opinion on a very, very obvious genocide currently happening in Gaza?
Well, I think if the DA is not going to review its stance, they are going to lose a lot of votes. They're going to lose groundswell support in the city of Cape Town. I just received a phone call this morning from the Muslim Judicial Council in Cape Town, who is such a central institution in the Muslim colored and black community in Cape Town. And they were basically thanking me for the sacrifice that I took to resign and put my resignation in support of Palestine. Now, the Muslim Judicial Council in Cape Town is the mouthpiece of all Muslim people living in Cape Town. And I think if you go into rural Western Cape, places like Paarl, Worcester, George, and all these big municipalities in your rural areas where there's a congestion of mainly colored Muslims, I think it will hurt the DA badly in the upcoming elections in the Western Cape and South Africa in a whole, because a lot of us that was joining the DA came from the ANC. We came from a progressive background. A lot of us has struggle credentials, and our allegiance and our support always was with the people of Palestine for many decades. And so these people, the majority of the Western Cape, colored and Muslim people that is voting for the Democratic Alliance. I could not stay longer and campaign for the DA as I was going. I was part of the elections team for the by-elections in Grabouw. The by-election is taking place on the 14th of February. I could not stay longer and convince people to vote for the DA, whilst I know I have a consciousness that this party is not supporting Palestine.
Mm, mm. I want us now maybe to focus on well, before I get on that, I saw a social media post that you were stuck somewhere in Cape Town. The Democratic Alliance came and confiscated your car after you announced that you're going to be resigning. How true are those rumors? Did they really come and
Let,
take your car and said,
let,
you're no
let,
longer the member of the DA, so you can go catch a taxi now?
I will never be stuck in Cape Town or any other place in the Western Cape or outside the Western Cape. I've got a big network of friends and people across party political spheres. So no, that's not true. That's not true.
Mm. And uh, South Africa is a very diverse country, and we looking at what's currently happening with us taking Israel to the ICJ. In your view, what role should South African political parties play, in addressing humanitarian crisis like the one in Palestine, even though they might not be in power, like the ANC is currently?
Number one, they should not be quiet about it. They must be outspoken. They must encourage their public reps, their leadership, to take sides, because whenever there's a genocide in any country, it is unacceptable. It is a crime against humanity. So there's a moral obligation to all political parties, including the ANC and the DA and all the other parties, to speak out. Their members must be encouraged to become activists for justice, because it's a humanitarian thing. It's not a political thing. It's a humanitarian thing, and the world is facing one of the brutalest genocides we've ever seen in modern time, where 27,000 people die in a short space of time, where hospitals are being bombed, where schools and clinics and refugee camps are being bombed, where the people of Palestine, of Gaza, are being instructed by Israel to move to a safer zone. Once they enter into that zone gets bombed. So uh, political parties cannot be silent on this matter.
Mm. Mm. And just lastly, you made mention of the People's Movement for Change. Is that your new political home now? And what are your ambitions with that new movement in Cape Town and the Western Cape at large?
Yeah, yes, I'm a part of the People's Movement for Change, and we are contesting the 2024 elections. The party is born in Cape Town. We've got a well-known leader, Mr. Marius Fransman, who was an NEC member for a very long time of the ANC, but also the deputy minister of international relations, who's leading up this party. So I will be on his right-hand side campaigning hard. And we believe that we will be the second biggest party come May 2024. And we call
Mm,
on people, all the people that is in support of Palestine, all people that stand for justice, for social justice, economic justice, to take a stand and support us, so that we can basically uh, be a stronger voice for justice in the Western Cape and South Africa in particular.
mm. Well, there you have it, Mr. Sammy Claassen there, resigning from the Democratic Alliance. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and all the best within your new political home. And I hope we'll catch up with you soon as elections come close. And I hold you to that, call that you said you're going to be the biggest political side in the DA. So we'll be keeping an eye close on that one.
Yeah, we will be one of the biggest parties in the
Uh,
Western Cape, and we're looking forward to it. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine. Well, thank you so much. Welcome, salam.
Thank
We'll
you.
chat.
I say thank
Yeah, there you have it. Mr. Sammy Claassen there, giving us some of the reasons why he decided to resign from the Democratic Alliance, being amongst many others that we've seen. I think from last year to the turn of 2024, also seeing some big and very prominent members of the Democratic Alliance putting pen to paper and resigning within the organization, saying they can't be a part of it anymore because of the DA stance on Palestine. Yeah, I think that's it. Leading up to the elections, the DA seemingly scoring on goals. But yeah, we'll see how the elections pans out for them, particularly in the Western Cape. But from me, Salailo and Nasreen, is goodbye for now.